I think a lot of people are so into themselves now that they forget that, yo, you trying to build with somebody else.
It's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me? Girl, it's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me?
What's up, y'all? You know what it is. This is Lady Miz and Ray, and you're tuned into The Imperfect Marriage, y'all. This is another episode where we are going to be talking about marriage and relationships, but this topic specifically is about love on life support, okay? How is the culture destroying commitment when it comes to marriage, when it comes to relationships, all of the above? We're going to get into it. So, I don't even know where to start with this, but I will say, here's the thing. Love is on life support because you got people on social media that is pushing singleness. They're pushing, I'm a strong woman that don't need a man. They're pushing, these men got to give me this, that, and the third and pay for all of this and all of that. I mean, look. I'm a woman. I know I'm a married woman, but sometimes I be like, damn, why'd they take Kevin Samuels away? Because somebody got to put him in their place. So I guess you better do it. But don't go too hard on us, though, because I'm still a woman. I'm fighting for mine.
And what I'm going to say is not going to go against the women who are not doing it. So, if you take it personal, the shoe fit.
Okay.
I'm going to call it what it is. All right? I'm going to tell you what the problem is. The girls, the strippers, the bottle service girls, those women who, and I'm not going to say men ain't going to date them, but a lot of times men ain't taking them serious until they, they stop running the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these girls are now pushing that agenda because at the time when they're their peak of looking good and they want to run around looking good, they're teaching women that this is how you do it. Be honest, the strip club industry is an industry full of single people, single women.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't say all of them got husbands and wives. That's not a marriage industry, right?
Okay.
When you look at who's pushing the narrative, oh, I want $500 for lunch or dinner, it's not a woman who's working. It's a woman who's getting dollars thrown at her. Take the time and look at who's saying that. The woman who spent $5,000 for her BBL and her stomach and her breasts or whatever it cost, it went out to that. Those are the women pushing that narrative. And then women are looking at them going, oh, if she can get $500 for lunch, so can I. But you also looking at the number that they also looking at 1% of men are making that kind of money to buy dinner anyway. It's honest.
Okay. All right. So that's your take on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
When women come up with, I don't, because I'm not, when these women come up with this idea that a man's supposed to pay $500 just for lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your nails and all of that, just to go on one date with you. I'm gonna be honest. Are we having sex? And because if we're not doing that, I'm not paying that. I don't care. You're not worth that. You're not.
How do you tell somebody what they're worth, though? How does someone else put a price tag on somebody else's worth?
Because if you telling me what you think I should be doing, you don't know my worth.
I like that. You know what? I think that somebody's worth shouldn't be based off of the things that they could buy them and material items and stuff. I think that that's where we go wrong. I'm just gonna, I guess I'll pivot over here and talk about like masculinity in women, right? So I am a female. I know that sometimes I could be very strong spoken when I come across, very passionate when I speak. But as a woman, I do not like when I see other women that is a little too hard. Now, this is just my opinion. You know what I mean? Shout out to anybody. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But to me, when I look at it, I be like, ugh. I don't like women, especially at a certain age, that like want to be extra hard and be like up in the videos with the middle finger up or taking pictures. And I think at some point you have to grow out of that. I can't see finding a respectful man that would want a woman like that. Now, at some point, yeah, when you're immature, when you're a teenager, you expect that from people who don't know any better. But I do think that when you reach a certain age, you should grow out of it. So part of having a female that portrays herself like that is a turnoff to men. And I think that is also contributing to the issue of, love on life support. Because if men is like, I don't really want to deal with that, then now, the women are like, oh, they act like they don't want us. Or let me be honest. Women, please, look, I'm not going to even say don't hate me for it. Because no matter what you do and what you say, somebody going to hate you for anything. They're going to find something to hate you for anyway. So, but let me say this. How do I say this? The other day, we were speaking about how Black men were going to other countries to find women because they don't feel that they can find the women that they're looking for here in America. And that's not just Black women itself. I think that is just the American culture. But I'm talking about Black women right now. When we talk about Black men that's going to other countries to find other women of a different ethnicity group, why is that? Why is that? Now, I was talking to my brother about this on the phone, and one of the things that he was saying, he was like, it's because he said they were advertising commercials like, oh, well, do you want to wake up and someone say good morning and hello and cater to you? All the things that I guess a man wants, right? That they feel that they probably not getting here. And I'm not saying that's the case for everybody. But what I'm saying is they're saying that men are running somewhere else because this culture here, the men are not feeling like they're getting what they're supposed to get from the women, or they're too masculine. They're trying to be men. My take on it is I do see that. I'm not saying that everybody is like that, but I would be lying if I sat here and tried to make an excuse for the behavior that I know really does exist, because I see it for myself. I see it in other women. When I come across other women, they got to act like they hard with me. Like, sis, I'm not here for that. What are we doing? Why are you looking at me like that? Like you ready to fight? Now I can imagine how you are with your man or your husband. Like, what do you think about that?
I'm gonna say this, right? It's a culture in America that's been going on for a long time. Remember Delirious? Eddie Murphy talked about it. Where Eddie Murphy talked about it a long time ago. And the culture in America still, it hasn't changed. What it is I'm gonna tell you, and I can only speak. I know what happens in other people's, other races and all of that, but I don't really care about them because I know the black people with the problems that they go through. I can't talk about white problems because I don't know them. But I will say this, right? Mm-hmm. For black people that I know growing up, when we talk about women being strong and masculine, is because unfortunately you got to blame some of the men. Back then, back when fathers just decided, hey, fuck it, I'm breaking out.
Okay.
Because when with those women, it taught those women, if I gotta be by myself and I don't need a man, then they teach their daughters that.
Well, yeah, they have to pick up the behavior of being a protector now. Yes, that's what it is.
Let me say this though. It teaches their daughters this, right? But now their daughters are taking it a step further. Because now they're going out there because they don't know what it is to have a man around. Mm-hmm. They're being the man. They're walking around. Like some, there were times where, and it's been said, a dad with a daughter, when a woman has her father around, she knows that when her man is checking up on her, he's not trying to control her. He's trying to make sure she's good.
That's deep. I don't mean to go ahead. I'm sorry. I say that's deep because I thought like that. Well, I don't like to be controlled, right? But it's funny that you say that because some people do feel like that. And if you don't have someone to teach you, it's almost like I've been talking to a lot of black men lately. That has to be like, I think you need to do that, because a lot of black men are saying, I didn't have nobody to teach me how to be a man. Not all black men, but there's a lot that their fathers are not in their life. So I didn't have nobody to teach me how to be a man. That's what black men are saying. I didn't have nobody to show me how to love. I didn't have nobody to teach me how to be a father. All of these things, a lot of men have that same issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing for women. So if we could be understanding to the man who has that struggle, why not also be understanding to the woman who has that same struggle? Because see, if she didn't have somebody to teach her that, then how does she learn? The learning process has to start somewhere.
I don't disagree.
Mm-hmm.
And you are totally right. If women are understanding to men, then men have to be understanding to women.
Right.
Right. Here's the difference, though. When a man gets a woman that he's ready to deal with, he's really understanding. The problem with women are, even when a man is trying to help her, she doesn't want to listen.
Not all women. Don't say all.
All right. Most.
You can't say all.
Most women are not trying to hear a man. If they done been raised, they watch their mother struggle, then they growing up in their own struggle. When they do get that man around, they're not trying to hear it, because they feel like that, I can't speak for a woman, but what I've seen is, why am I listening to you when the men that should have been around never did what they were supposed to do?
In today's time, I have to say this. Now, there are a lot of black men out there that's doing their thing. You're one of them, right? But there are also a lot of men that are not.
Believe it or not, that statistic is really low for black men.
Mm-hmm. I know we had that conversation before.
They speak on it like black men are not out here. Black men statistically take more into their kids' life than white people. White men. People know that they'll use the excuse that, oh no, because white men at work. That's bullshit, because so are black men.
He said, where you think we at?
But and it's not a shot at white people. It's just that as black people, we got to stop taking a negative narrative about who we are.
Yo, no, and you're so right. The thing is, we live in such a sensitive society that it's like you can say certain things and then they want you to not say, and you got to always apologize. But no, we gonna speak the facts. If you can sit here and portray black men as looking a certain type of way, then why can't you say, hey, we did the research too, and the research shows that this is what it actually is for black men, and at the end of the day, it's no different than if white men is not around either. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to say that. It's not like it's degrading white people or white men. It's just about pointing out, just like they got statistics and they look up stuff and they see what the numbers say, because the numbers don't lie. It's the same thing. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Do you go ahead? I was going to say,
this is why we speaking on white people, because there are some white people that I know that when I was in the Navy, right? They only understood statistics when it was negative black people. When you pointed out the statistics of white men, these motherfuckers didn't want to talk no more.
Well, let me tell you something. It ain't just white people that's like that. See,
I'm speaking of what I know.
Your experience.
My experience.
Right. Well, here's the thing. It's a society that's pushing that narrative. You understand? And then the other people come and they keep reinforcing it. And it keep getting taught. And it's not just happening here in America, because me talking to other people they look black, right? But they're from another country, right? Let's say Africa or something. Africa's not a country, before y'all come for me, continent. But they're from somewhere else that's not America. And based off of what they've been taught, they have adopted the racist way of thinking about black Americans. And they think that they are so ahead of the game with understanding everything, and then so much power with how they think, not knowing that they adopted the brainwashing thought. So when they come across black people who are not like that, they like, oh wow, I never seen anybody like you, as if we don't exist. So when you sit there and say like white people, this is how they think, what I'm trying to tell you is they're not the only ones that think that way. This is a mindset that is traveling out through the world. That's why I'm saying people keep reinforcing that negative stigma about Black people.
Well,
Okay.
let me clear this up, because when I speak on it, I'm not speaking of all white men, right? 'Cause
Okay.
I would be wrong. That'd be a lie, right? But I'm speaking of, I could say for a fact, 2 white guys that I know.
He calling y'all out.
Yeah, if they seen this video, they know who they are. Because I'm not saying I have white friends that are not like that. They're
Right.
and I know are not like that. That they understand it. They it's they real. They know what they know life experiences. They with everybody. They have the same struggles as we have as Black people, so they understand the struggle.
Okay.
So, but they're the two specific.
But this relationship wise?
Yeah, I'm saying, when it comes to like everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when these guys, when I'm speaking to these 2 guys specific. So I don't want people coming at me like, oh, it ain't all white people. I know that.
Right. Okay. All right. So, do you think that society is pushing, I would say, the narrative of being too strong for love? Like, like I spoke about women, especially, and I'm speaking of Black women, that can be overly masculine. Do you think society is pushing that narrative and that is affecting relationships and marriages? And is it causing loneliness and singleness and broken households? What do you think about that?
I'm gonna be honest. Society could push all the narrative if you want it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be willing to accept it. I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people we all use in society is a scapegoat for not having personal responsibility. When somebody is telling you, hey, as a female, I'm a male. If I come to you, I'm like, yo, you don't have to be that strong with me. I'm being honest with you on who I would like you to be with me. How you could be with anybody else. If I'm your man and I'm saying to you, yo, you could simmer down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, you don't have to take on the take of society, because I'm your man. I'm supposed to be the one you listening to, and vice versa.
Right.
So personal responsibility is who you should be blaming. Society is going to do what society has always done, put out the narrative. You got to be willing to accept it.
So do you think that modern women are pushing men away?
Yes. Because modern, I'm going to be honest with modern, right? Modern changes.
Break it down. Let's see where you're coming from with this one.
Let's say, because back now they'll call it the traditional woman, when the woman was home cooking, cleaning, and all of that. That was considered the traditional woman.
Okay.
You don't think she was the modern woman in her time?
I don't know. That's funny. I never thought about that. Never thought about that.
Right? So now they call her the traditional woman.
That is interesting. That's very interesting. So I don't. So what is modern women today? Like, when I think about modern women today, I think of independence. I'm working. I'm taking on the roles that men used to have, and now I'm in the forefront, and I'm on the same level as him, and blah blah blah. That's how I kind of see it, and I'm not saying that it's the right way. I'm just saying that that's how I see it. How do you see it?
I don't know. I have to say I agree with that. The modern women today, and it's the narrative that they accept. Just because me and you are on the same level don't make me less than you.
Right.
See, and it's the same for women. That when a man is on up there, it's the same. But the problem is, women now think because I make the money, I don't need you anymore.
Right.
Right. But unfortunately, what people feel, and this is not to bash women, because what, as a man, I know there are men out there doing the same thing. The difference between men and women, and I've said this to you before, when a man is making the money, he is considered and supposed to take care of his family. Right.
Yes.
That's what he's supposed to do. When a woman makes the money, she's not looking at taking care of her family no more. She's looking for the man who could take care of her. And it's always like that. She wants better than the man she got. If she's making more than him and she's doing better than him, she wants better than the man she got.
And we can't say that for every woman. That's women that are looking for financial. Oh, okay, the modern. All right. He said, put the period on that. Period.
Modern women.
Modern women. Okay. All right.
That's
Wow.
the modern women today. When you look at it, think about who the modern women today are. They are the ones bashing men. I don't need you. I could do this all by myself. But if you want to be with me, you got to pay.
I think that how can I say it? Like that people who are glorifying not being married and being single, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but a lot of it is coming from a bitter, broken place. That's just how I see
I
it.
don't understand that.
Well, let me explain what I mean by that. So, everybody has that. We look at things the way we look at it based off of our experiences, based off of things that we've seen or seen other people go through. So when I speak on that, bitter, a woman that might be bitter, a woman that might be, upset and had some bad experiences, they're glorified being single because of their past experience that they had with a man. Like, I'm okay with being by myself because I had this one did this one did that. And then now all of a sudden they look at all men in a certain light because of the few men that they dealt with. They had poor experiences with them. And then they go and they start pushing that narrative and trying to show this lifestyle. If you look on social media, if things didn't work out for the woman, they'll have parties and divorce parties and all this stuff. And look at me, I'm single, and try to make the people that have relationships look like they're losing out on all the fun that's out there. You know what I mean? But they're out there looking for what somebody already has at home. So my thing is, at the end of the day, if they're single and they're bitter, they might be glorifying separation. They might be glorifying not being married. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to bust that narrative down. I'm going to tell you that.
Okay.
And because I can only speak from my perspective as a man looking at women, right? Because this is what we're doing, right? Back in the day, and it still happens now, women glorify toxicity. They want the man.
Some.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to say it. When you look at it, right? Mm-hmm. They glorify it. They want the man who's out there on the street, the fun, and when they're young. They're doing this when they're young. They want the fun. I want the guy that they have, who he out there, he's hustling, he's running the street, he ain't doing nothing. The guy who's actually doing something for himself, they don't want to deal with him.
Do you think it's still like that?
Yes, it ain't changed.
Because I know back in the days it was probably like that. How would you know?
That,
You're not in the streets though. Look, you got me looking like, how you know?
But you can see it hasn't changed because they still want men who's. If you want to be with me, you got to spend a whole lot of money on the first date. If you come in, you got to get my hair and my nails done just to take me out. They want wifey duties. They want a man to do the husbandly thing before they're the wife.
So, would you say that all that is contributing to marriage and love being on life support right now?
Because when you walk, if I'm coming to you and I say, hey, I meet you on the street and we exchange numbers, and then on our first date you say to me, well, in order for us to go out on a date, I need my hair and my nails done.
I see people saying that on social media, and I got to tell you, I guess I don't know if I'm naive, but I'd be like, this got to be a skit. It has to be a skit. Are women really out there? Please, somebody answer this. I need to know if you really experienced this. A man. I need a man to answer this. Have you really ever experienced a woman telling you that she needs you to pay for all of these things and take her to the most expensive restaurant in order for y'all to go out? Is it true, or are they just trying to do that for views?
Think about it, all right? The internet is full of copycats.
Basically.
So you're gonna tell me that if somebody put that out there as a skit, somebody a person ain't in here going, yep, that I can make that work. I can make that a reality.
Yeah.
So what's happening? We can't act like it's not.
Right.
Back to that, right? So if I'm saying to you, if you're saying to me on our first date, I got to get your hair and your nails done, and that's it. That's where we draw the line. Now you're asking me to be the husband and you're not being the wife. So if I asked you, as if I'm doing all of this, you have to do the wifey things, the women automatically cut that off, right? That's automatically cut off. So you expecting me to be the husband without doing doing things in the relationship doing. A lot of times, men are looking at it like, why I got to do that much and I'm not even guaranteed that we're gonna go. I might not even like you after this date.
Okay.
You know, and
Right.
and that's what's killing it, because a lot of times they think men is just being cheap. No, we're not. If I got to spend my finances on you, the priority I have to take care of myself, and if I was to go with you longer, why would I waste it on your hair and your nails on a $500 date when I might not like you at the end of the date?
That's interesting. I don't know. You know,
Why you think they going
that's
overseas?
something that a man. So is this why men are walking away? Like, you know, is this why men are walking away from women? Is this why? And let me be honest. I'm sorry to say it. Are men gay because of this too? Like what's really going on?
Why every time a man says no to a woman, he got to be gay?
No, I never said that.
Oh, okay. Just
I
to be
said,
clear.
are men also gay because of that?
No.
Because there are a lot of gay men. And they coming out the woodwork.
that
So
don't
I'm
have
trying to
nothing to
figure
do with-
out like what's really good. Like I'm trying to connect the dots. Y'all tell me. I don't know what's up. What's
You drawing
up?
dots in places that they don't need to be. That's what that is.
But
Men are-
there's still gay guys out here.
Yes, but that don't have nothing to do with a woman. That don't have nothing to do with the fact that women know.
I'm trying to understand the walking away part. Like,
Oh, that's what I'm trying to help you
Yeah.
understand. I just explained that to you.
okay.
So what I'm saying to you is, why, if you making it this hard for me in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we haven't even established nothing yet.
No, yeah, I got that part.
So that's why that's the easiest part of it. We're dumbing men. A lot of times, women dumb men down as if we don't have the emotional intelligence to understand what we're getting.
You know, it's funny you say that because I'm going to flip it a little bit, right? So you have men who will be with a girl and be like, yo, I need to get some. Like before I can even know if I really want to be with her or not. So y'all ain't no different than the girl saying you got to do this, that, and the third in order for me. You know, to me, it seems like both sides have certain type of double standards, or they're looking for something that they shouldn't be looking for in the beginning, instead of just saying, let me get to know this person. Let's just, you know, we could go to the park. We could make lunch and have a picnic. Like there's so much creative things that you could do, but men are looking for sex immediately, and women are looking for food and how they could look good immediately, and they're missing the point. And this is, in my opinion, why marriages and relationships are drifting apart, because they're not going into it looking for somebody that they can build with. They're looking for their own personal gratifications for themselves, not, hey, I want to build with you. I want to be with you. Let us grow together. I think that's where it's really starting. And that's where the problem is.
And I can address that too. That's an age-related thing.
Age-related? You don't think
Age-related.
these young kids are out here doing that?
That's what I'm talking about. After you get a certain age,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a 40-year-old man, 40s, 30, I mean, I
They still out here acting like that.
I-
Trust me.
I
I
know
know some of them.
I know. I'm just saying to you, right? But that's age. If you at that age, and you 40 years old, as a man, and you still walking around here going out, in order for me to do anything for you, or I could be in a relationship with you,
Mm-hmm.
that I gotta have sex with you first, you haven't grown up. That's not a man. So when we gotta stop confusing men and boys,
Ooh. I heard that one.
that's where the issue is. Just like we got to stop confusing women mentality with girl mentality. Because
Amen.
the girl mentality is the one asking for $500 and my nails done. A woman is saying, all right, I want to see where we go. Instead of sitting at, like you said, instead of going to dinner, let's have a conversation. Let's see let's see where we align at.
Yes, if we connecting on any level, if the energy is connecting, that's a lot. I think a lot of people, and that's another thing too, when we talk about love on life support, because I think a lot of people are so into themselves now that they forget that, yo, you trying to build with somebody else. Social media has got people so wrapped up in just, no, I'm serious. Like when I scroll, it's like everything is about like, look at me. And don't get me wrong. We all like to look nice and take nice pictures and videos. Of course, you want to feel good and look good. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with loving yourself. Okay. Check out my song, Pretty Like Me. Okay. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with loving yourself, no. Walk with your head high, cause you're feeling yourself, yeah, yeah. It's called all confident, not conceited. Even though I feel I got a reason, those compliments got me cheesing. You pretty like me, no competition, you ain't nothing like me. You're beautiful in your own way, 'cause if they love you, they gon' love you anyway.
There's nothing wrong with loving yourself. That's right. On all major platforms. So, but it's nothing wrong with loving yourself. There's nothing wrong with bigging yourself up and embracing who you are and stuff like that and having confidence. But it is something wrong with it when you try to put it out there like that's all you have to offer and that makes you better than everybody else. Because most people that is really about something when it comes to relationships, they're not really just looking for the outside. They're trying to see, let me see where your mind is at. How do you think? What's your mental process? Let me see how you handle situations. Let me see how you handle money. Let me see how you handle family structure. Let me see how you handle conflict. Let me see how you handle different things. And I could decide from there if you're the type of person I could build with or not. It doesn't mean that if that person has flaws, because you're going to find somebody, they might not check all the boxes. Okay? They might not check all the boxes. But if they check the main ones that are buildable, then that's what I think is important. And most people, the reason why love is on life support is because people are searching outward instead of inward.
I'm gonna say something. You left out one thing. My thing about why love is on life support is because you left out. Let me see how you're gonna handle me. You did all
Right.
You all the outside stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you could do all of that. How you gonna handle me?
Okay.
Because when you handling somebody, like you said, they come with their flaws. How you gonna handle me with my flaws?
Right. That's a good one. And how you going to handle me in a situation when things get rough?
Yep.
Think about this. We were talking about this the other day. Like, when I asked you, like, what is your thoughts about our marriage and how we're still going on? You know what I mean? And I guess we could address that now. What do you think your reason is for why our marriage is still lasting after how many years it's been? 19?
We've been together 20 now.
No, it's not. Not
Yes.
20 yet. What month is this?
It's after February. This is.
What month is it? Oh, we in April. Wait.
Yeah, we're in April. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
this
So
is
it's 20 years.
officially.
20 years, not married 20 years, but together 20 years. So to still be here, right? And to be able to have these discussions, tell people in your own words, for you, what do you think kept us here and how do you feel about it?
Well, like I said, when we had this conversation, I looked at it. We here because when we had our bad times, the really, really bad times and the struggles, when we came back together, it was enough to discuss it, enough to say, hey, how we both affect each other and how we can change that. But most importantly, we didn't jump in to get acting like the stuff didn't happen. We took our time to get back.
Right.
So a lot of people, when they do that, they just, they get to that real bottom out. And then when they try to work it out, when they get back together, they're not in the process of saying, hey, let's work it out, but also let's take our time to get to learn each other back again.
Right.
And they go right into where they
Acting
were.
like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just with relationships and marriages. I think that happens with family members, with friends and stuff like that. It's like, hold up. If there is a problem, we are not going to be key and buddy or acting like nothing ever happened. We need to address the issues and come to some type of common thing and understanding so we both can understand where everyone went wrong or if one person just went wrong. Because sometimes people want to be like, it's both sides. Sometimes it's not both sides. Sometimes it's really just one person that messed up. Or it could be both. But you still got to have that communication to be able to say, you know what? This is what happened. This is where we went wrong. So, hey, look, that's it. Okay, we understand what happened. We understand what went wrong. We understand that we cannot do that again. And this is how we fix it. And now let's move on from here, being better and doing better.
Because
Now, my thing is, what I would say is, I agree with what you said. I think that makes a big difference. Not giving up is why we're still here. And we didn't allow our issues, and we had a lot of them. Okay,
That's what I was
we
saying.
had a lot of them, but we grew closer. In my opinion, I think that we didn't allow it to totally, even though it could have shattered us, but it didn't completely break us. And I think that that's why we're still here. And for people out there who are married, marriage is work. It is not, people, I seen a post that said most people, divorce is so high because people were so busy worried about the wedding instead of the marriage. And I don't know if I said that completely right, but it's so true. Marriage, once you say I do, that's where the work begins. You know what I mean? And it's let me tell you, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of giving. It's a lot of understanding. It's a lot of forgiveness. It's a lot that goes into that people have to understand. If you're not really ready for this, then don't do it. Don't do it if you're not ready. But when you are, make sure that you understand everything that it comes with. You got to be ready for that. And you can't be so quick to want to give up just because you got a problem, because society pushed, you ain't got to settle for that. Why? No, you don't have to settle for abuse, sexual abuse, if there's molestation in the family, stuff like that. No, cheating. But other stuff, I think you could get past it. That's just my opinion.
And I'm gonna say this because I'm in full transparency. We were there. We was almost to the point like, man, this is over.
Yes,
you
yes.
know. So it's not, I'm not saying it's like we were our arguments was like, and they were simple shit,
Right. No. That's why I said it was shattered.
Yeah.
We had some serious issues, and I know we spoke briefly on some stuff before on the other episode, but we had some serious issues. But you want to know, for me, the issues get worse when other people get involved.
Yep.
When you involve other people. So I seen on this group Facebook, I think it's called the Marriage Club. I'm not sure what it's called, but it said, don't involve nobody in your business when you are going through something. And maybe if you got that one person you could trust that will, not be biased, then you could talk to them. But you got to be careful with who you run to. And unfortunately, I think we both did it. And this is, look, we are talking to other married people out there. Maybe y'all didn't do it, but I know a lot of us have, and we have talked to people that we should have never talked to about our issues in our marriage. And honestly, all it did was add gasoline to the fire. Now, what happens is when you do that, you make your problems worse because now their input comes in. And guess what happens when their input comes in? If they don't like the other person, they're going to have so much more to say. They're not going to be speaking from a place of, let me look at your situation, your marriage, and see, maybe you're just mad right now. Maybe you're just upset and you're going through something. So you're saying a lot of stuff that might not be 100% accurate. It might be your feelings. You might be feeling some type of way, but it might not be all the way true. But you might be saying some things out of anger. Somebody that don't like the other person going to come in and add more shit to it. Okay? Or somebody that just don't want to see y'all together and never did. Or somebody, you could have friends that's just like, yo, I need somebody to chill with in the club. So let me just, F that. Yeah, you should do this. You should do that. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful with who you talk to, because some people don't even want to see your marriage survive anyway. At the end of the day, you have to be very careful with who you vent to, who you get your information from, who is telling you what to do and how to be in your marriage. If they have had failed relationships, failed marriages, or if they don't like the person, or if they're single and want to mingle and want you out there, they're probably not the best people that you should be getting your advice from. Find the right person. Otherwise, you will end up with a divorce.
I'm going to be honest, too, because it's not only that. Even the wrong marriage counselor
Yup.
will have you in a divorce.
That's true, too. That is very true. That's very true. You got to be careful. Because guess what? at the end of the day, most people and that do that, they got their own problems too.
Mhm.
And they might be seeing something that that affected them, and now instead of them really giving you the right advice, they're giving you advice based off of their own issues that they're going through or went through. It's a conflict of interest,
Mhm.
right? It becomes a conflict of interest in a sense when you're talking to the wrong person that's giving you advice from their own personal feelings rather than really looking at yours and saying, let me make sure that I'm not projecting my personal stuff, because my personal stuff has nothing to do with your stuff, you know?
I have another thing too with marriage, and when I feel like this, and I learned this going to counseling, right? Because people act like counseling is something wrong with that. It's not. I learned it when you in marriage. The other person's job is not to make you happy.
That's right. It's never been.
It's you. If you believe their job is to make you happy, you already failed at your marriage.
Mm. Mm. Yes. People go in to relationships expecting someone to do everything for them or complete them. And like I said before, that means you're coming in half-assed. That means you're coming in 50. And you got to be 50-50. No, you got to be 100. I'm giving you all of me and I expect you to do the same.
Yep.
That's it. That's it. You know?
And then, unfortunately, nowadays people aren't doing that. They come into it. They might come into it happy, but then they're looking for somebody to make them even happier.
Yeah.
When I'm not saying you shouldn't be happy in your marriage, y'all should be happy together.
Mm-hmm.
But your happiness shouldn't be coming from the idea of what the person does or what they bring to you.
Right.
Your happiness should be happy enough to just be with them. If they're doing stuff that you loved and that made you love them, and that's what you should be focused on, not how happy they can make you.
Mm-hmm.
You should be already happy.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But that don't mean like I said, that don't mean you shouldn't be happy with them, because there are some people that can ruin your happiness.
There are. That's why you got to be careful with who you pick.
Mm-hmm.
Don't rush into things.
That's why I was saying to you about the toxicity with women. Because what happens is, women say that they're emotional creatures, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are emotional. We attach everything to their emotions, right? Unfortunately, and this is why a lot of men are rushing and taking their time now with women, because what happens is women, they deal with all the toxicity when they're younger. By the time they are emotionally ready to deal with a man, they have dealt with so much of the negative shit that they wanted, that when they finally get somebody that's ready to deal with them,
Mm-hmm.
they're not ready to handle it, because sometimes you done dealt with so much messed up stuff that when
Yeah.
you see a good man, you don't know if he's really being honest with you or true.
You know, that I do agree with you on that. And I got to tell you that there's a flip side to that, because it's the same with men. Men could deal with women and go through all these crazy things and had a bad experience. And then when they get with a female, a different female that's not like that, or they hold that female now accountable for what somebody else did.
That's true.
It's the same thing, So when we talk about men this, women this, it's individuals, humans, people. It is not, I don't think everything is based off of sex. And when I mean sex, I'm talking about your female, male. I think a lot of it is based off of your characteristics, the person that you are, what you've been exposed to and who you dealt with. This is what creates trust issues.
Right, because I'm gonna be honest. Unfortunately, within it, and I agree with you, it goes on both sides. But when you put your emotions into the negativity, if you out there and I want the girl that's quick and who wants to have sex with me on the first night, then after a while, when I start to deal with a girl who's taking her time, I'm looking at her like, well, who she fucking with? Is she messing with me?
See, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
just
but
saying.
to each his own. But that's why that's your lens that you look out
Right, that's what
of
I'm
from
saying,
your
but
own personal experience.
I'm speaking from a general, like I'm saying, if you were with one of those guys who you want to sleep with the girl on the first night,
Mhm.
when a girl makes you wait,
No, I
You're
I
not
didn't-
looking at it. I'm not saying it me specifically. You know?
No, I got you. I
Okay,
got
I'm
you.
gonna be clear on that.
So,
But I did think like that a long time ago.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I think also when we talk about love being on the line or love being on life support, there is a downside, right? I think that there is a downside to I don't need a man. Now I don't really agree with that statement. I don't. Saying I don't need a man, um, if you could do without one, to each his own. You know, if you don't want one, to each his own. But to keep pushing that narrative and then wanting a man to then do all the things for you. Take me out to eat, get my hair done, get my nails done, support me, do this, take care of me, baby me, all of this stuff. But then you say, but I don't need you though. Do you or do you not? Because at the end of the day, what I want to say to the women out there, if you and unless you like girls, and I ain't knocking you for it, but who are you getting all dressed up for? Who are you getting cute for? Who are you doing all this stuff for? Because technically, if you really want me to be honest, if you're going out there and you're meeting up with a man to go on a date, you should already be cute because you getting cute for him. You know what I mean? So you think it's his job to make you get cute for him? You should. Whose job is it for him for him to get ready for you? It's the same. Like, you can't do that. Like, these are the things I'm just saying. We got to change some of this stuff, and we got to change some of this narrative that's out there. The downside to I don't need a man creates lonely, unprotected women trying to do everything them damn selves and justifying it. Tired, struggling, working hard, doing everything and doing both jobs, creating health issues, unnecessary stress because you're trying to show the world you don't need somebody. It needs to stop. That's my opinion. But hey, if you want to be like that, to each his own. But don't allow society and social media and all these people to push that narrative on you and make you feel like you got to live up to that. You don't have to live up to the so-called hype of I don't need a man, because there is a downside to that. And when you be in that situation, you're going to understand why.
Well, I got 3 things to say to that, all right?
Sure.
First thing is about what we was talking about with the dates, right? When you go on a date and you want a man to pay for your hair, your nails, make you expensive dinner, and then you say, I don't need a man. What you think that man's going to think? Why would if I don't need you, if you don't need me, why am I doing all of this? Because I'm going to be honest with you. And the nature of a man is if y'all want a man who's going to provide and protect, that's the nature of a man. For you to feel like, for us to understand that if I'm going to do this, this is going to be specifically to you. It comes as a need.
Right.
And unfortunately, when y'all do that, the men are thinking, nah, I'm not, I want somebody who's going to want me.
Right.
Who's going to say that, who's not running around here with that narrative that I don't need you. Because when you have that narrative, and like I said, you create this idea that men are emotionally stupid. When that idea is running around that you don't need me, then what am I doing? I don't have to be there for you.
Right.
You don't expect me to get up at 3:00 in the morning when the criminal's breaking in because you don't need me.
Yo, it's funny. I seen somebody sent this to me. I don't even know. It was somebody interviewing 2 girls on the street. No, I'm sorry. It was a girl talking to another girl, and she was like, I might not say it exactly the right way, but it was like, if you were stuck somewhere and there was a bear and it was a black man, who would you like? Who's more dangerous to you or something? But trust me, I'm probably not saying it exactly how she said it. But what was crazy was the girl said, the black man. Like the black man is the danger. So she feel more safer with the bear than she does with the black man. And the comments, y'all know what we do. We go to the comments all the time. That's the first thing we go to. Because people was like, put her in that situation, see who she run to for help. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the, now every man ain't gonna be able to help you. He gonna be running just like your ass is. But, and he should be. Get the hell out of there.
That's one hell of a scenario because if a black man and a bear is standing there, if the black man ain't running, he is the dangerous one.
I don't know about that. I don't know about. Maybe he knows to be still and don't move so the bear don't react. But listen, you know the point that I'm saying. The whole point is the girl. What she started to say was how black men are not protecting her, how they were dangerous, and this is the stuff that's on social media that some of these young girls are scrolling through, that society is seeing, and they're looking at this stuff and they're like believing it. And it's another narrative that's continuing to be pushed. So now let's look at this. This is a female saying that other people might hear. What happens when that girl have kids? What is she going to teach that kid? Now that kid is going to grow up thinking the same thing, but you needed a black man or a man to have that baby. But now she's going to be looking at him in a certain way. She probably won't even respect him on a certain level. So basically what I'm saying is be very careful with what you put out there. Be very careful with the images you put out there, with the message that you put out there. Granted, none of us is perfect. And I know I probably say things and I speak from my own point of view. And I speak from my own experience. It doesn't mean that everything that I say is 100% right. I'm talking about my experience. Somebody could come across that and say, well, no, this is not true, and I don't agree. And let me explain why. And I would listen because I want to hear what they have to say to see if what they say makes sense, because I have common sense to be able to be a critical thinker and listen to somebody's other side. But at the end of the day, I know how to filter out bullcrap too and say, nah, that doesn't sound right. So overall, my thing is, I'm not judging the female, the girl who said it. I just think you got to be careful with that because she is a messenger right now on social media that somebody's going to pick up and believe. So be careful. Be very, very careful with what you put out there.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. When you right now, because if you look at social media nowadays, women who speak to women and tell them to be careful, like you're saying, they consider them to be pick-me's and they attack y'all.
We're pick-me's?
Yeah, pick-me.
Well, tell me what a pick-me is.
From what my understanding,
tell me, I need to know this.
My understanding of a pick-me is a woman who understands what she wants in her man, or if she's doing like a woman who wants to be with her man is considered a pick-me. In my understanding, if I got the understanding right, and like I said, don't quote me on it. Okay. Because the only people I hear saying that is the women who are out here saying they don't need a man. That when a woman says no, like you're saying now that you're wrong about that, you're a pick-me.
Okay.
Because you're saying I need a man.
Look, I'll be a pick-me all day, and that's okay because I'm very happy being a married woman. I'm happy that I have my husband here, and I think that this is why we can sit here and give the advice that we're giving, because we've been in this 20 years strong, still going, growing closer together, have had problems. That's why this is called
Imperfect Marriage.
The imperfect marriage, baby, because it's not perfect. And that's what you have to understand. Not looking for perfection in other people. Yep. Understanding that I come with flaws and so does the other person. And, embracing that. It's hard because sometimes you want perfection. Sometimes I'll get on you and you have to tell me, look, sometimes you tell me that I say that I think that you could do everything. And then that's a failure because when you can't, I'm mad. Like, no, you can't do it. And I'm like, well, that's because I believe in you. I think that you can do it. But you're right, though. If you can't do everything the minute that you don't, now I'm disappointed, and now that caused a problem. So, we're going to wrap it up because it's that time. But at the end of the day, you have any final things that you want to say to the people out there, to the married people or couples, any advice you want to give when it comes to love, being on life support?
I would say this, my only advice, and I'm only going to speak to married people because unless you're not ready for it, it's a waste of time. For married people, especially the ones struggling right now, and I'm going to say what was told to me. Look for the reason why you initially married her. instead of looking for what's wrong. Because if you're focusing on what's wrong, that's why you're still having the problems.
Well, look, I agree with that, so I really don't need to say nothing. We're going to close the show with what Ray said. And that is it, y'all. Thank you for tuning into The Imperfect Marriage. We hope that somewhere along this show, you was able to take away something that could be helpful to you and your relationship and your marriage. And we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Girl, it's easy to love me now. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me?
We hope you enjoyed your time with From the Ground Up Productions. We'll see you next time. Be sure to add our channel to your Roku list and listen to us on all streaming platforms.
From the ground up. From the ground up. There's only one way to go from here.